everyone, I am Sale and this is the video recap of the grand finals of the Team Liquid Legacy Star League. For our third fourth place match, we had Hungarian Terran Skyline playing against Spanish Zerg Eon Zerg. In the first game, Eon Zerg opened with an aggressive 9-pull strategy which forced Skyline to defend with a bunker in his main. Skyline followed up with 2 barracks and an academy off just 1 base and decided to put some pressure back on Eon Zerg. Eon Zerg held off the initial attack of Skyline with some Sunkens while going 2-hatch Muta and getting a quick third. Eon Zerg showed some great Mutalist control and forced Skyline's Medic Marine army into a defensive posture in his main. He then followed up with a Lurker Ling attack on Skyline's natural and was able to contain the Terran back into his main base. Having already taken severe damage, Skyline is unable to break the contain and is forced to GG. In game number 2, we had a standard 1 Rax expand opening from Skyline against the 12-hatch from Eon Zerg. Skyline then quickly takes the Science Vessel off just 2 barracks while Eon Zerg goes for a 3-hatch Lurker build. Skyline moves out to attack just before Eon Zerg's Hive Tech kicks in, but he's stopped by a big Lurkerling force as well as some sunken defense at the natural. He follows this up with a drop at Eon Zerg's back mineral only and manages to kill a lot of drones as well as force a cancel on one of Eon Zerg's upgrades, but while this is happening, his main army is crushed by a big Lurkerling surround. Eon Zerg though now has his Hive Tech and forces Skyline's army back into his own natural with Dark Swarm. Skyline counters this with a double dropship attack in Eon Zerg's main that once again kills a lot of drones. After some back and forth army trading, the game ends up with Eon Zerg on 6 bases against Skyline's 4. Skyline goes for a crazy attack on the Zerg's natural and actually runs straight through the Dark Swarm in order to inflict maximum damage. Unfortunately, this attack is not enough, and Eon Zerg's constant counterattacks on the Terran's 4th base give him a solid macro advantage that eventually wins him the game. In game number 3, we again had a standard 1 Rax expand opening versus a 12-hatch. Eon Zerg then goes for a 2-hatch Mutalisk as well as a fast third, while Skyline goes for a 2 barracks academy. Eon Zerg's Muta Harass isn't able to do much damage this time, and Skyline goes into the mid-game relatively unscathed. Amusingly, both players make some rather comical errors at this point, with Eon Zerg blocking his 3rd gas with his Hydralisk Den, while Skyline traps a tank in his main base. While trying to hold off the Terran with some lurkers, Eon Zerg techs to both a Greater Spire and a Defiler Mound. Unfortunately for him, Skyline is able to break through the lurkers and attacks his natural before Consume is finished. Even though Skyline loses his natural expansion to the Guardians, he's able to break through the natural and kill the Zerg's main, giving him the win. Game 4 opens much like Game 3, with Eon Zerg going for a 12-hatch into 2-hatch Muta and a fast third, while Skyline goes for the standard 1 Rax expand into 2 barracks and academy. To defend the Muta Harass, Skyline builds what seems like an excessive number of turrets, but he is successful in taking very little damage. Eon Zerg then once again goes for the Guardian and Defiler tech, while simultaneously denying Skyline's 3rd base. At this point, however, Skyline seems to have figured out a weak point in Eon Zerg's build, and goes for a very strong pre-Defiler attack on Eon Zerg's 3rd base. Once again, Skyline takes a lot of damage from the Guardians, but he is able to kill the Zerg's 3rd base and starts to break through the natural, resulting in a GG. In game number 5, Skyline sticks to his solid play and opens with a 1 Rax expand, while Eon Zerg decides to mix things up a bit, going for 12-hatch into 3-hatch Muta instead of the more aggressive 2-hatch Muta. Eon Zerg's initial Muta Harass does some damage, taking off a good number of SCVs from Skyline's natural, while also crucially picking off the first Science Vessel as well as a couple of siege tanks. Eon Zerg then once again follows up with quick Guardians and Defilers, but this time Skyline scans the fast Greater Spire and counters it by going for a very quick Cloak and 2-port Wraith. Just like in the previous 2 games, Eon Zerg starts to morph a lot of Guardians behind Skyline's natural while the Terran main force moves out. This time, however, a fleet of Cloaked Wraiths moves in to pick off the Guardians, and while Eon Zerg is distracted by the main force, he even forgets to cancel all of the morphing Guardians. Despite losing that big investment, Eon Zerg is able to stop the Terran's attack with Dark Swarm. He then takes a hidden 4th base at the bottom left main, but this is scouted and killed by Skyline while he takes his own 3rd base. Skyline then kills off another 4th base attempt from Eon Zerg at the top left natural, and also breaks through and kills the main base, which is Eon Zerg's 3rd. After finishing off the base, including roasting a large number of drones, Skyline ends up with 3 bases against the Zerg's 2. At this point, Eon Zerg's economy is far too weak, and after struggling for a few more minutes, he's forced to tap out, giving Skyline the reverse 3-2 victory. In the final, we had American Zerg Michael versus Hungarian Zerg Siki. In game number 1 on Bloody Ridge, Michael opened with a 12-hatch against the 12-pool expand of Siki. Using his much faster Zergling speed and abusing the distance between Michael's natural hatchery and the entrance to his main, Siki goes for a speedling run-by and is able to kill 3 of Michael's drones. This forces Michael into an all-in Zergling counterattack, which Siki is able to defend with Sunkens and great link positioning, giving him the win. In game number 2, Michael opened with an over-gas build against Siki's overpool. Ziki makes the initial 6 Zerglings as expected, But curiously, Michael only makes 2 Zerglings and uses the rest of his larvae to make drones. With Seeki's Lings approaching, Michael tries a very unorthodox 2-drone block on his ramp. He attempts to cover the drones with Overlord so that Seeki cannot target them manually, while leaving a Zergling behind them to also bug out the AI. Unfortunately for Michael, his Overlords are not able to get into position in time, and Seeki is able to break through with the Zerglings and win the game. In game number 3 on Ground Zero, Seeki opens with a 12 hatch while Michael goes for the 12 pool expand. Having spawned in vertical positions as well, both players scout each other very quickly with their initial Overlords, allowing them to see exactly what the other player is up to. Having gone for a faster spawning pool than Seeki, Michael decides to poke around at Seeki's natural with his initial 6 Lings, but behind that makes only drones. Seeki meanwhile masses up a lot of Speedlings and goes for a counterattack against Michael. Michael reacts to this very late, and despite putting down a couple of emergency sunken colonies, is unable to stop the mass Zergling attack of Seeki, and is forced to GG out of the game. In game 4 on Neo Aztec, we had 9 pool openings from both players. After some back and forth link skirmishing, Seeki pushes Michael back into his main, and contains him at the top of his ramp. Using this momentary advantage, Seeki sneaks in an extra drone, and gains the drone lead. Michael eventually breaks out with his own Zerglings, but is forced back by Seeki's Mutalisks. Seeki then goes for a brief Muta skirmish over Michael's base, but is pushed back by Michael's own Air Force. Seeki then goes for his natural expansion while continuing to build up his Muta count. After scouting this with a Zergling, Michael decides to go for a big attack with his own Muta, and after an intense battle, Seeki is able to come out on top in the air and takes the game. So after 4 intense ZVZ games, Seeki comes out on top and is the very first TLS champion. So for our final standings, we have Skyline in 3rd place winning $50, Michael in 2nd getting $150, and Seeki winning the entire tournament as well as $300. A huge congratulations to all those 3 players, and many thanks once again to our sponsors Razer and Twitch TV. Without them, none of this would be possible. A huge thanks also as well to Team Liquid for organizing everything, and a huge thanks to all you lovely viewers for just tuning in. And for those of you eager for more brutal action, don't worry, because in roughly 1 month's time, the 2nd season of the TLS will begin. Eonzerg showed some great Muta control, and what? Eonzerg showed some great Mutalisk control and forced Skyline's the sentence is a good sentence, I promise. That wasn't the sentence. I'm gonna type it out. Yes, that's the good sentence. Eonzerg showed some great Mutalisk control and forced Skyline's Medic Maria. I still can't say. And Eonzerg's I'm gonna write the sentence again. I should just write the whole script. Well, Skyline goes for a... What? Oh, I totally read that sentence wrong. So after 4 intense ZVZ... So after 4 quick... So after 4... And once again, a huge thanks to our sponsors, Razer and Twitch TV. Without them, none of this is possible, and I suck at talking. This has to be one take. Alright, go again, go read. Said Guardians twice really quickly there, but I don't give a...